the temperature drop, and Triad companies working overtime to make sure people stay warm this weekend.
We've got some added help coming in through the Christmas holiday for emergency situations to help those that are in need.
We're starting this evening with meteorologist Eric Chilton. Eric, it's been a dreary day, but how long is this rain going to stick around?
Well, you know, the rain is already pulling out. That's good news. At this point, we're just watching this temperature drop, which is going to be very problematic for us, and the winds. We have a high pressure and low pressure in two different places in the country, and the winds around both of those are just funneling right over the mid-Atlantic states, and it's going to pump in some really strong wind gusts. Add that to that cold air, and we've got wind chill readings like we haven't seen in a while. Let's take a look at current readings. Very tricky with our high temperatures tomorrow, because technically we'll probably hit that tonight at midnight, because we're going to drop consistently after that, even throughout the entire day on Friday. So a lot of us, most of us, will sleep through the high temperature, and by the time we wake up and get out there, it'll be in the 20s and eventually in the teens by afternoon and evening. 41 degrees in the Triad right now, but that will not stick around long. Here goes the rain heading out, moving back up to the north and east. Second system, this is the one that brings the winds for us and the Arctic air. Arctic air building in back behind that. We'll stop it here. Did you notice that the areas of white and blue, they have diminished greatly until now? I think we get a sprinkle, maybe a light shower Friday morning, and we're talking early, between 4 and probably 7 a.m., and then it pushes out of here pretty quickly. Behind that, though, that's the cold air that we've been talking about, and we mean Arctic air. Add that to these wind gust readings, 30 to 40 miles per hour in the mountain areas. Not out of the question for us to see a 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gust. Our wind chill readings could be below zero for Friday night, and we'll talk about a single-digit overnight low for Friday night coming up in just a minute.
You heard it. It's going to be cold, very cold, because of the frigid temperatures. Governor Roy Cooper took action and signed a state of emergency earlier this week. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake shows us how folks are preparing ahead of the temperature drop.
So every state of emergency is different when declared operation plans are activated. Since the declaration, travelers I talked to tell me that they're getting to where they need to be ahead of those cold temps tomorrow.
Days before Christmas.
We're heading back to New Bern.
Families are traveling.
We are traveling from Troutman, North Carolina to Farmville, North Carolina.
Ahead of an oncoming Arctic air mass.
It's been really nasty. There's been a lot of several accidents.
And I was glad that we were leaving today to try and get back before everything gets worse.
Headed back to eastern North Carolina, Chris Barnes and his family wanted to get on the road early to beat any traffic and take their time.
Most people have actually been driving either under the speed limit or right at the speed limit. Not many I've seen that were pushing it too far, especially in the heavy rain.
Guilford County Emergency Services says the state of emergency doesn't necessarily impact them in this particular declaration.
A lot of times it will give us the resources and the ability to pull in the associated folks that we need. It sort of gives us an opportunity to speak to the public and get them ready for a situation that we can kind of see coming.
With this state of emergency, transportation regulations have been waived to help transport fuel and critical supplies, among other things.
Where it helps is that our drivers that are spending an excessive amount of time on the road making sure deliveries are made, and particularly on our wholesale department, we're able to take care of customers through extended hours without jeopardizing the regulations behind their licenses.
Not only will it be cold, the wind will pick up. That means downed trees are possible. This is something NCDOT says they're keeping an eye out for.
That's going to be the main issue I see, is just trees down, maybe have some power outages, but mostly trees.
Amber Lake, WFMY News 2.
With high winds expected tomorrow, there is a chance you could experience a power outage. If that happens to you and you're a Duke Energy customer, here's how you can report the outage. You can text the word OUT to 57801 or call 800 POWER ON. With those frigid temperatures on the way, crews have been preparing all week. Propane companies in particular are working overtime to meet demand. WFMY News 2's Daniel Cruz spoke to those working to keep you warm as well as those working to keep you safe.
Iberco Fuels in Greensboro has spent the better part of the week making sure customers were ready for those cold Christmas mornings. Today, empty trucks, one after another, stopped by the yard in Greensboro to fill up themselves. Their day started early this morning and they plan to stay busy right up until Christmas Eve. Will Berry is the president of Iberco Fuels, and he says customers need to always be aware of their fuel levels so you don't get caught off guard and left in the cold.
We've also prepared our teams. We've got some added help coming in through the Christmas holiday for emergency situations to help those that are in need.
Firefighters encourage you to be diligent when it comes to using the other heat sources, such as a space heater and all that wrapping paper that will likely go flying across the living room this weekend. It's highly flammable. Getting too close to a heat source could spell trouble, and the rain we've had today could cause even more issues for firefighters, especially in rural parts of our area.
This time of year we utilize ponds, we use dry hydrants. With the 2 inches of rain or close to it we've had today, it makes it extremely hard for us to get to water points. We may have to be traveling further.
Chief Chrisman also encourages everyone to keep an eye on their neighbors this weekend, especially the elderly. He encourages you to take just a few minutes to stop by or call them and make sure they have everything they need to stay warm.
Great advice, Daniel. Thank you so much. You also want to take the proper precautions to make sure your pipes don't burst as we go through tomorrow's freeze.
Once it drops below 20, that's when we can potentially see pipes freezing or bursting.
Michael & Sons Plumbing says pipes can freeze in as little as 6 hours, and with the lows in the teens expected this holiday weekend, plumbers are urging homeowners to take extra precautions.
We tend to see more issues in older homes that are less insulated.
Copper is very common pipe around here, and when it freezes, it busts. Mistakes that I see that are made is people are like, oh, I'm not going to be here. Let me go ahead and just turn down my heating system.
Matt Vassar says it's important to make sure your home keeps warm and doing little things like opening cabinets to help warm air circulate in, and dripping faucets can make sure your pipes don't freeze. And the most common problem he sees is when people don't disconnect their garden hose.
When that freezes inside your wall, when you go to use it in the spring and you turn this on, next thing you know, you're outside power washing your car and you just flooded your house.
Yikes. With some hardware stores open a few more hours tonight, it might be the time to run out and grab some insulation for your pipes and your outdoor pipes as well. There are some things you should do to your car before hitting the road for your holiday travels this weekend. First is have your battery tested, especially if it's more than 2 years old. There should be a sticker on top of your battery showing the month and year it was manufactured. The gold can drain the cranking amps and could cause your car not to start. Second is your tire pressure. Under or overinflated tires can cause excessive wear to the tire. A sticker in your door jamb will show the tire pressure recommended for your vehicle. Lastly, check the fluids, antifreeze, oil, and windshield washer fluid. If you are low on antifreeze, your car could overheat and your heater might not work as it should. And you can check real-time driving conditions. Hitting the road is on the State Department of Transportation's website, drivenc.gov. The website shows you areas where the construction, accidents, and traffic are as well.
Look at them. They're wrangling, physically getting your kid into their coat or their winter wear. It's work. So if you're about to put your child into their car seat, just don't put their coat on. Really, it's actually dangerous.
In a crash, if he was still wearing his coat would compress, all of that puffiness would compress, leaving this extra room, which gives him additional room to move and potentially move outside the safety of his car seat, which would increase his risk of injury.
The easy way to check if your child's coat is too puffy or bulky, first put the coat on your child and secure your child into the car seat so that there's no slack in the harness straps. Then remove the child from the seat, take the coat off, put the kid back into the seat. If the straps are too loose, there's a problem.
I also do the daycare drop-off every morning, and I know that it can be really annoying and kind of inconvenient to have to remove their coats to put them into their car seat. But I will tell you that it is super important for their safety. You want them to be the safest they can in their car seat.
All right, so now you're asking, how should your child stay safe and warm in the car? Consumer Reports recommends securing the child into the seat and then putting a blanket or coat on top of the harness. Now, for your older kids, you can actually put the coat sleeves on backwards after they're already harnessed in.
All right, you don't want this to be you this winter. Yikes. So don't just go for what seems like the easy solution when it comes to defrosting your windshield, because it could end up costing you. We dig through all the viral hacks online to give you the best solution to de-icing. That's coming up in about 4 minutes. Parents, listen up. Target is recalling over 200,000 weighted blankets after numerous reports of suffocation and 2 child deaths right here in North Carolina. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says the Pillow Fort weighted blanket poses a risk to children because they can unzip it and crawl inside. The commission says a 4- and a 6-year-old at Camp Lejeune both died after being trapped in the cover of the blanket. CPSC and Target are urging customers to stop using the recalled weighted blankets immediately. They say to contact Target for a refund. We have an update on a story we brought you earlier this year. The Rockingham County Sheriff's Office unused ballistic vests have made their way to Ukraine. Sheriff Sam Page originally had the idea in March, and the help of Samaritan's Purse was able to get the vest overseas. Page shared this picture of volunteers in Ukraine distributed much needed food and wearing vests donated by law enforcement. In a statement, Page said in part, "Here at Christmas time, it warms my heart to see so many people willing to help their fellow man in their time of need, and goes along with the law enforcement creed to protect and serve." The president of Ukraine made a historic trip to the U.S., addressing Congress in Washington, D.C. He received a standing ovation. He thanked lawmakers for the tens of billions of dollars in aid our country has sent to stave off the Russian invasion.
Thank you for both financial packages you have already provided us with and the ones you may be willing to decide on. Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security and democracy that we handle in the most responsible way.
President Biden said the U.S. would provide nearly $2 billion worth of weapons to Ukraine, including Patriot missiles that can shoot down Russian aircrafts. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Our chances to have snow on the ground in the Triad this year are pretty much non-existent now, but we still wanted to know if in North Carolina's perfect ideal world, would you or wouldn't you want a white Christmas? Rachel Dunzing finds out.
We would love making a snowman.
All right, what are your thoughts about this?
All right, so I think most North Carolinians want snow at Christmas because we don't get it that often. In the news business, I'd be just fine with no snow.
Same, because you know, if we get any type of precipitation, especially snow, all hands on deck.
Right.
We're coming into work that day.
I'll take the snow, just maybe not on Christmas Day.
No ice, just no ice.
Yeah, no ice ever.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back.
All right.